Hi, this is Charles again, and this is another Bible study in the Journey Through God's Word series. So grab your favorite version of the Bible, a notebook, and a pen or pencil to take some notes. This particular study is on the sixth day of creation, as described in Genesis chapter 1, verses 24 through 31. If you enjoy this study, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you're notified whenever I post additional Bible study videos. Today's lesson discusses how God created all the land animals on day 6. Then, to close out the sixth day and all the process of creation, God made man and woman. The focus of the lesson will be on the fact that it was God who created everything, that God's creation contains all that we need to live and prosper, and that God placed in us the power to be creative just as he was. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind." And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after their kind. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1:24 through 25. Day 6 began with God creating land animals. 3 different words are used in verse 24 to describe the animals that were being created that day. The first of the 3 is cattle. The Hebrew word is behemah, which is used to refer to a large dumb beast, especially a large 4-footed animal such as a cow, a horse, a pig, a giraffe, a hippo, or maybe a moose, or some similar type of animal. Second is creeping thing. The Hebrew word is ramesh, which is used for a reptile or other small, rapidly moving animal such as a mouse, a squirrel, snake, beetle, or a grasshopper. The final is beast. The Hebrew word is chay, C-H-A-Y, and it's the same word used in verses 20 and 21 to refer generically to any living creature. This can be interpreted as wild animals like lions, tigers, bears, wolves, or hyenas. So verses 24 and 25 can be read to say that God created large land animals, like the cattle, small land animals, the creeping things, and other land animals, the wild beasts, each after its kind. Among the types and kinds of animals and creatures included in these groups are mammals, reptiles, amphibians, insects, arachnids, such as spiders, scorpions, and huntsmen, and arthropods, such as centipedes and millipedes. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." Genesis 1:26 through 28. God didn't simply speak man into existence, as he had done so many times before with all the other creations. Instead, he took the time to carefully craft the man from the dust of the earth, forming him in his image and after his likeness. I've always been of the opinion that words mean things, but that people often use words carelessly or ignorantly without truly understanding the subtle shades of meaning conveyed by the words that they use. This can lead to misunderstandings, disagreements, loss of opportunities, and all of the negative effects that follow these things. So to preclude any possible misunderstanding, before we try to understand what it means for man to be created in the image and likeness of God, we will first spend a bit of time exploring the meaning of the 2 terms, image and likeness. The word image can be used either as a noun or as a verb. As a noun, it can be defined as a physical likeness or representation of a person, animal, or thing, photographed, painted, sculpted, or otherwise made visible. It's also a form, appearance, or a semblance, as in we're all created in God's image. As a verb, when used with an object, it means to reflect the likeness of or to mirror. It also means to resemble. So the word translated as image in Genesis 1 and 26 is the Hebrew word tselem, which can be defined as illusion or resemblance, hence a representative figure. From these previous definitions, it's clear that the key characteristic of an image is that it's a representation of something else. That something else is the original, of which the image is but a copy. It has the appearance of the original, but lacks the true essence of the original in some significant way. Just as a mirror can create a reflection of a person, but that reflection lacks the depth, weight, and substance of the person being reflected, so too is an image always inferior to the original thing that it represents. Likeness is a noun. It can be defined as similarity in appearance or character or nature between persons or things, as in a man created God in his own likeness. It can also be defined as a picture consisting of a graphic image of a person or thing. So the word translated as likeness in the Hebrew is demuth or demuth, which can be translated as resemblance, model, or shape. A likeness then indicates a similarity in appearance or character, a resemblance with something else. The level of similarity required to equate to being a likeness is relatively high. A thing or person exhibiting only a slight resemblance or similarity to another would not be said to be in its likeness. So where does this lead us? What conclusions can we draw from our brief etymological study of the words image and likeness? To me, the answer is clear and unambiguous. To be created in the image and likeness of God means that man both represents and reflects the nature of God, as well as resembling the character of God. We are the mirror in which the perfection of God is reflected and the model through which the characteristics of God are displayed. Yet because we are but images and likenesses, we are at best imperfect copies of the divine nature of the Godhead. Therefore, we can only aspire to be like God, but never to be equal to or greater than him in any way. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to every living thing that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. Genesis 1:29 through 30. God told both the man and all the beasts that the herbs and fruits of all the trees of the earth were to be their food. There was no eating of meat, and therefore no need to hunt or to kill. Every creature was at peace with every other, and the entire earth was a peaceful place. This peaceful, idyllic state would only last for a brief time before it was ended by the entrance of sin and death into the world. It would only return again after the Son of God had paid the price for sin and gained victory over death. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, and their young ones shall lie down together. And the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the suckling child shall play in the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Isaiah 11:6 through 9. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Genesis 1:31. At the end of each of the first 5 days of creation, God looked on what he had created on that day and declared that it was good. On the sixth day, after he had finished all of creation, God looked at all of it and said it was not just good, but very good. The addition of the qualifier very can be viewed as an indicator of the completion of the process. The works of day 1 through 5 could be deemed good, but could not be called very good because there was still more work to be done. Only after all the work had been accomplished could it be declared very good. Why were the land animals and mankind not created until day 6? Reason number 1. Everything that the land animals needed to survive and thrive had to be created before they were created at the beginning of day 6. And everything that mankind needed to survive and thrive needed to be created before the first man was created at the end of day 6. Reason number 2. They couldn't be created before day 1 because the heavens and the earth didn't exist yet, and there would be nowhere for them to be. Additionally, without the water created on day 1, life, even if it existed, could not have been sustained. Reason number 3. They couldn't be created before day 2 because the skies and waters were mixed together. The animals and men would have ended up floating in the middle of the sky. Reason number 4. They couldn't be created before day 3 because the whole earth was covered in water and there was no dry land on which they could live. Without land, there would have been no place for plants, grasses, herbs, and trees to grow. Since all living creatures originally were herbivores, eating only plants, before day 3, no animals would have had anything to eat to sustain their lives. Reason number 5. They couldn't be created before day 4 because most plants require sunlight to live, and without the sun, the plants that sprang up on day 3 would have quickly died. Had that happened, no animals would have had food to eat. Reason number 6. They couldn't be created before day 5 because the birds and sea creatures hadn't been created yet. Without them, man would not have been able to fulfill the commandment that God had given him to, quote, have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Reason number 7. Mankind couldn't be created before the end of day 6 because the land animals hadn't been created yet. Without them, man would not have been able to fulfill the commandment that God had given him to, quote, have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Reason number 8. Mankind was the culmination of the entire creation process. It was all undertaken so that God might create a being in his image and after his likeness, and give that being dominion over all the rest of creation. On the sixth day, after God had finished all of creation, God looked at all of it and said that it was not just good, but very good. The addition of the qualifier very can be viewed as an indicator of the completion of the process. The works of days 1 through 5 could be deemed good, but could not be called very good because there was still more work to be done. Only after all the work had been accomplished could it be declared very good. What, if any, spiritual significance is there in the land animals and man being created on day 6? 6 is considered the number of man because the first man was created on that day. Land animals of all kinds were created at the beginning of day 6, but mankind was created separately at the end of day 6. This indicates that man is not an animal. He may have some physical similarities to animals and may have been formed from the same dust of the earth, but man is different. He's the only one created in the image and likeness of God, and into whom God breathed the breath of life. The Sabbath day is founded upon the 6 days of creation. That God completed the creation on day 6 and rested on day 7 provides the pattern for man to work 6 days a week, but to rest on the 7th, the Sabbath day. Lessons to be learned from this lesson. Lesson 1. God created man in his image and after his likeness. To be created in the image and likeness of God means that man both reflects and represents the nature of God, as well as resembling the character of God. We are the mirror in which the perfection of God is reflected and the model through which the characteristics of God are displayed. Yet because we are but images and likenesses, we are at best imperfect copies of the divine nature of the Godhead. Therefore, we can only aspire to be like God, but never to be equal to or greater than him in any way. Lesson 2. The creation was complete after God created man on the sixth day. After God had finished creating the heavens and the earth and everything on the earth, creation was finished for all time. There has never been anything newly created since that time. What men now call creation is nothing more than discovering new ways to reorganize things that God has already created. Creating a sculpture is only rearranging metal, stone, wood, or clay into a different shape. Creating a painting is just rearranging different colors on a canvas, a wall, or some other surface. Creating a poem is rearranging words, and creating a song is rearranging existing sounds. The creation was something that happened once and will never happen again in this universe until God creates a new heaven and a new earth at the end of this age. Lesson 3. God rested on the seventh day, and he commanded us to rest one day out of 7 as well. Because he had rested from his work on the seventh day, God blessed and sanctified the seventh day of every week forever. Many centuries later, when God chose the nation of Israel as his first ambassadors on the earth and gave them his commandments to guide their lives in ways that were pleasing in his sight, he included in those commandments an instruction to remember and honor the first Sabbath. In later ages, there would be rules associated with the sanctification of this day of rest. Lesson 4. God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed life into him. The man's physical body was formed and molded out of the clay from the ground. His immortal soul, which had been made in the image of the Godhead, was breathed into his body by God. The living soul is unique to man. The other animals all have life, but none of them have a living soul. Thanks for watching. You might also want to go back and check out the videos for the other 5 days of creation.